Good day, traders. Hope you guys are good. And before we start with today's video, I just wanted to wish you guys a happy new year. I hope you enjoyed your festive holidays. You were able to spend time with your families. We are back and we are ready to work this year. So yeah, man, just wanted to get into it. This is the first market breakdown for the year 2020, but our 28th market breakdown so far. So we've come a long way, but there's still more to achieve. We are not yet on the finish line. So let me not waste more of your time and let's get right into today's video. I'm going to start by looking at the dollar index as per usual. As you can see over here, we have this high and then, okay, what's happening? Yeah. And then we have this low over here, right? Not really important, but I just wanted to note that we're in an uptrend, or we were in an uptrend, the market creating consecutive higher highs and higher lows. Now my problem started here when the market broke this low over here, right? So what had happened was the market broke this area over here, right? And then at the same time, we had this price action over here. And then the market, when it was supposed to, right, invalidating that order block, right? So for some people, they might say that this was a liquidity grab, right? Simply because we got a false breakout and the market continued in the direction that was intended on. So the uptrend is still intact. But what happened was, as the market went up, right, it did. So as a result, you got this reaction from the supply region over here. And with that reaction, we had a lower high. So this high is lower than this high, making this high a failure swing because it didn't break above this one over here. Now, the market went down, right, from this area over here. As it went down, it didn't break below this area over here. In actual fact, here, when the market went up again, it formed a demand zone. And we can say that this demand zone is confirmed because, number one, the amount of basing candlesticks that are found on this level do not exceed 4. Number two, the zone has broken through an opposing supply level. Number three, price has spent enough time away. And yeah, these are the factors that you need to consider. If you're unfamiliar with these rules, I already uploaded videos in the Smart Money Concept playlist, right? But yeah, we got this demand level and it's the one that's in control right now. So personally for me, I wouldn't necessarily say that we're still in an uptrend. I'd say that we're in a consolidation phase. Just want to write that down. We're in a consolidation phase. Now with a consolidation phase, With a consolidation phase, it means that we have equal amounts of buyers and sellers. Now, we know that demand is in control. And then finally, when you look at the supply and demand curve, we are mid-curve, in the middle of the curve. All of these things I've talked about in my videos before. So if you're new, make sure that you check them out to familiarize yourself. So let me quickly remove these over here. And then, yeah. So from the higher time frame, what we have gotten is that the market is approaching this sell zone over here, right? The market is approaching the sell zone over here, right? So any buy opportunity that you'll find along the way, because we are farther away from the zone that's in control, which is the demand zone, every buy opportunity is going to be a low probability opportunity, right? Doesn't necessarily mean that it won't be valid, doesn't necessarily mean that it won't hit our profit target. It just means that we must be more careful because we are slowly stepping into the sell territory. So those are the things I needed you to note. So we also had this inefficiency over here, which got filled. And this candlestick over here, because it's a source of an imbalance, can be, especially if you look into lower time frames, can be a potential area of supply, right? It has broken through previous structure, market has spent time away from it, and then you can have a drop. So for me, my closest targets are these two areas over here. Let's continue to the lower time frame to see what's happening. As I was saying, yeah, this is the zone that I was talking about that I said you might actually find on a lower time frame, right? We had this inefficiency over here, or this imbalance over here. And this was the source of that imbalance. It's actually a low probability supply zone because it's a streak, because of the basing candlesticks. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. But it's a low probability supply zone because of the basing candlesticks, right? But it's a supply zone regardless. So as you can see, the market's reacting from that. Now let's take a look at where price is at right now. The zone over here. Now, my problem with the zone is what? We haven't gotten a break of structure, right? Meaning it's not confirmed, right? Now, because it hasn't broken any structure, if we get enough push to the downside, we might actually be able to break through it. You understand what I mean? For me, if you're looking for buy signals, higher probability buy signals are going to be found as you go down the curve. So we're looking for discounted levels, right? So say, for example, price doesn't necessarily go according to how I see it and goes up. We have this area of inefficiency over here, right? So we know that with gaps in the market and with also liquidity, price has incentive to go there to fetch orders. You understand? So if price does eventually go to the upside, it does have incentive because there's inefficiency, right? There's also inefficiency over here. There's a gap that the market left over here. And I think a few months ago, I did speak about it. So these are the two scenarios. If we go down, I think we might even go all the way down and take out these gaps over here before going up. But if we go up, fill in this gap and then get a drop. But yeah, anyways, these are my sentiments. Let's go to the daily. And with the daily, you can see that, okay, price, let me do this. Price went into this supply zone that was supposedly a low probability zone or a weak zone, right? We created the swing low over here. And then we had a failure swing because we couldn't break above this high over here, right? As that happened, we had this movement to the downside. We created another lower high. So we had this first lower high, signaling sell pressure. And eventually the market broke through this swing low, giving us this push over here and also giving us this order block over here. So we can say that this supply area that I'm drawing right now has been confirmed because it has broken through structure, it's fresh, and also it has left an imbalance. So one of the things that we might expect to see during the week is a bullish push to the upside and then a drop, right? That's the first scenario, right? The second scenario is the market breaking through this area over here, right? Or the market taking liquidity from this area over here. Because don't forget, guys, there are people who have their sell stops on this area, or the people who are going to be lured into trading with their sells because this is an area of quote unquote resistance. There are people who are going to be buy stop traders who are going to be taken out with this. So as a result, this is called a buy stop liquidity, right? So this is the second area. If we get a strong breakout from this area, that's when I can say, okay, we're getting a continuation of the uptrend. But for now, all I'm seeing is signals of selling, right? We have this opposing demand zone. So it will be for our own benefit to take note of it, right? And we'll use it as a take profit, right? This won't be a good area to trade from. Not a high probability zone, right? Why? Because of the SD curve, where it is in the supply and demand curve, right? It's not ideally located. And then number two, it's not nested within a higher time frame zone. So even if we get a reaction, this is not a good price, or this is not a good area to be buying from, right? To be honest, I'd rather look at this zone. So even if the market does not necessarily fill in this inefficiency that we spotted, right, at least the market can go to the zone. And the further down price goes, meaning the more cheaper this dollar index becomes, the more attractive it is going to be to people who are interested in buying. These are the banks, right? This is the nested demand. But yeah, man, these are my thoughts on dollar index. Let me know what you think. But for now, let's move on to another pair. All right, moving right along to US dollar pairs. Now we are on USDJPY, right? We have this high over here. We're in an uptrend, and then we had this low over here. The market came back for it, but then couldn't break below, right? So this is your most recent swing high. No, it's a swing low. Excuse me, it's a swing low, right? So even from that swing low, you can see that we had this area where demand was formed, right? And this demand has been confirmed because it has resulted in a break of structure, right? So yeah, if we zoom in, we had equal highs over here, which means it's an area of liquidity, right? Now, we have the situation over here. Ideally, and I'm going to write this down, but I'm sure I also mentioned it in the liquidity video. Ideally, when you have an area that's a potential area of liquidity, you want a strong breakout from that area, right? Now, with strong breakouts, you get two situations. If you get a strong breakout and a strong movement, right, back into the zone, meaning a false breakout, it means you experience a liquidity grab. Right? Obviously speaking, the market took liquidity from that level, right? That's scenario number one. Scenario number two is a scenario where you have a strong breakout. Now, price spends time away from that area. And also, we have a demand that's been confirmed on that breakout point, right? That means it was a break of structure, right? And if we have a classical scenario of a break of market structure, if it's in aligned with where the main trend is going on higher time frames, usually the market will return to that order block and then use that as a turning point, right? You use that as an area where it's going to continue with the movement that it had intended, right? So usually with a strong breakout and time spending away, you're looking for an order block. That's a break of market structure. But if you have a weak breakout and then price spending too much time on that zone, we have a liquidity grab or manipulation. So this is what we are seeing right now on USDZAR and on USDJPY, the monthly, right? This is what we see now with this scenario over here, because ideally we're supposed to get a strong push outside of this, but price is spending way too much time on this area over here, right? So this to me is a signal that maybe price is not going to continue up after all. But then this could be flawed at the same time because the monthly candlestick hasn't closed yet. So if the monthly candlestick was closed, I'd know for sure, right? But then so far, because we're halfway through the month, I could say that maybe price wants to go down, right? We'll just see in a couple of days or weeks if I'm right or wrong. But price is showing me signs that it wants to go down, right? And there's a level or there's inefficiency over here. So it will have an incentive to come back and retest this demand zone over here. This demand zone is confirmed. Also, it's fresh. So it hasn't even been tested before. You understand? So let's go to lower time frames to get a much clearer view of what's happening here. All right. And we can see it also with this area over here, right? That we also had a liquidity grab on this. Maybe it will be clear on the daily. I'm not sure. So my confirmation would be a breakout below this area over here. I'm waiting to see how the market will react on the zone over here. Other than that, towards my left, especially on this area over here, there isn't a lot of like imbalances. So there's a lot of efficiency, meaning that orders that may have been left here have already been filled. Now, the only gap that I'm seeing, to be honest, is this one over here on that weekly demand zone that I was talking about. And it's actually very, like, it looks good also because of the fact that it has, or it's nested within a higher time frame zone, right? So let's wait and see what happens. But if all goes according to how I'm seeing things, we might get a breakout to the downside, something like this. I don't know. Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. Let's go to the daily. And so on the daily, that liquidity grab is much more clear. Remember what I spoke about when we were on the monthly, about the three different types of scenarios, right? Here you got a strong breakout, but price spent way too much time on this. So as a result, price eventually went back here. So that's what happened, right? Now we have this area of liquidity in the form of a swing high. There's not enough, like there's no imbalance over here. So another area of demand could be here. My only problem with this demand zone is where it's located. It's not ideally located, right? But we might get a young low probability buy opportunity. This is USDJPY, by the way. Right? So let's wait and see, guys. Let's wait and see what happens. Will I see anything on the 4-hour? The more or the lower you go in terms of time frames, the much more clear this thing becomes. So the market was creating consecutive lower highs, right? And breaking previous structure or breaking the lows, right? So eventually we had this imbalance over here, which wasn't like tested. We had this imbalance over here that wasn't tested, or that isn't tested still, right? We also have this area over here. Now, if we look to the left, has it broken through structure? Yes, it has broken through structure. Strong departure, but the amount of candlesticks here make me like doubt this level. So I'm not really sure if it will go all the way down, but what I'm definitely sure of is the fact that either this level or this level will hold and make price turn to the downside. Or we can just get a continuation. Maybe when market opens tomorrow, or like when I say tomorrow, I'm meaning Monday, right? We might get an opportunity here to sell and then we might get a drop, or we'll break the zone and go to a discounted level, right? Or a premium level. And then we will get that opportunity. So let me know what you think, but these are my sentiments on USDJPY. Let's move on to USDZAR. All right, guys, now we are on USDZAR, the third pair of the week. And as you can see over here, we had this imbalance last time we looked at it, got filled, and at the source of the imbalance, which we will recognize, or which we'll name the supply area. We'll name it the supply area. Price reacted, and then we're going to drop to the downside. Now, let's look at where price is at, potential area of demand. Now, has this demand zone resulted in a break of structure? No. Look at time spent away, not ideal. right? So for me, what I think will happen, I think price will eventually break through that zone. This is just me. We have this potential area of liquidity over here, potential area of liquidity over here. The gap that was here has already been filled, right? The only gap that's left is this gap over here. And it's not really a huge gap. You understand? So we have inefficiency, and then we have a demand zone over here. Confirmed, hasn't been tested, right? And then other than that, there isn't any other demand zone that I'm really interested in. So does this mean I think price will drop all the way to the downside? Maybe, right? Just have to wait for the necessary confirmations. And I believe we'll get them as time goes. Let's go to the lower time frame. As we go to the lower time frame, it becomes much more clear. So we had this high over here, right? Created this low. The market went up from this high, but failed to break above this high. So we got our first lower high, broken through this previous structure, went up, failed to break above this high, forming another lower high, broken this previous structure. So that's the pattern that we're seeing, right? Maybe we're going to get a push up until this level over here and a drop, right? But really, for me to like think that price is going to go up, for me to have that confirmation of saying, okay, maybe price is going to continue going up, right? I want to see a breakout from at least above this area, at least above this area, right? Because this over here will be an area of liquidity, buy stop liquidity. So not this area, maybe above this level over here, right? So right now, what we are seeing is that we had this breakout structure, market created an order block over here, right? And then we're going to get a return to that order block. This is an area of like where I can potentially take profit, my first take profit, right? But it's not ideally located when we're talking in terms of like opportunities of trading, right? So I'll just use this as my take profit and see how the market reacts when it gets to this area, right? Other than that, guys, I just don't want to look too much ahead because we will be monitoring this pair and also take into consideration that we're on higher time frames, right? So yeah, man, let me see if I can't see anything on the 4 hour. On the 4 hour, you have this over here. Maybe it's an accumulation. Maybe we're going to have a young consolidation over here. Maybe you're going to have a young consolidation and then a manipulation, taking out this area and then going down. That's what I think we might see. To be honest, I'm not really a good predictor of, or I don't know these patterns that well. So me, how I do things is I rely on like limit orders. I put limit orders on my ideal zones, right? So I'm not saying you must do the same thing, but I'm saying that's how I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to place a limit order here, and maybe a stop loss parameters will be sent on our VIP group, and this is actually a 1 to 7, 7 point something. It's a clean entry if you ask me. It's a clean trade. Risking 1 to get 7. That's a lot, dog. But yeah, man. Anyways, this is what I see on USDZAR. Let's go to EURUSD. Right, now we are on EURUSD. We have the supply over here. Have this area of liquidity over here. And we have this low probability demand zone over here. I say it's low probability because of the wiki base, right? And then this is where, like, I'd say you must look out for this thing. Okay. Also not a good zone. Has a strong departure as time spent away. So at least it's worth considering. I'm talking about the source of this imbalance, right? We have this imbalance over here. I'm talking about the source of that imbalance. Meaning we have this demand zone over here. It's confirmed and all. Just doesn't look like that ideal. But yeah, On the other hand, we have this supply area over here. It's been tested twice already. Okay. And then, yeah, let's go to the lower time frames, right? Even if you look at where I said it's a wiki base, this comes from the monthly, by the way. Look at these basing candlesticks, they don't look good. So I can only note the swing low from this area as an area of liquidity, right? Here we also have we have this demand zone over here. Doesn't look good because it's a wiki base, right? But anyways, it's fine, we'll take it because it's from a high time frame, sorry, by the way. My problem is with this zone over here. And my problem is one, it hasn't been confirmed. So the zone here, not confirmed. And according to my rules, I'm not supposed to be selling from the zone. So that's number one. Number two, we have this inefficiency over here. Orders that are resting here that have never been filled. And it's a large imbalance if you ask me. So we have inefficiency over here. With this inefficiency, we have the source of that inefficiency, which is the zone over here. What's ideal about the source, it's that it's confirmed, it's nested within a higher time frame zone, and then it's also fresh. So that's what's what. The breakout structure that I'm talking about is here, right? Now we also have this supply area over here, which has resulted in a breakout structure also, but it's not a high probability considering like that. Well, it's a high probability, but then let's consider the fact that if you are selling, you would want to sell at the highest price possible. And where's the highest price possible, or where's the best highest price? Is it an area where you have nested price action? Is it an area where there's already inefficiency, right? So for me, although I'm going to note this, I'm really looking forward for the market to hit this area, right? As for this zone over here, it's not confirmed. So personally, I anticipate a breakout unless the market uses up all of the orders that are on the zone, on this monthly zone over here. And then if it uses up all of the zones that are here, it means we're going to eventually take out the liquidity that's here. So those are the two scenarios that I see on EURUSD. Let's go to lower time frames. Now we're on the daily and we have that zone that I'm saying it's not being confirmed, right? Let me move this to a higher time frame, right? In that very same zone, you can see that we have inefficiency right here. So there's a lot of orders that have to be filled here. And this is the source of that imbalance, right? We have that scenario over there. And then the market was going up and was coming down. As it was coming down, you had this failure swing over here because we had the swing low over here, right? The market failed to break below it, creating a higher low, right? And we had the swing high over here, which eventually, as you can see right here, got taken out. We also got another swing low over there. So it eventually got taken out. We have a break of structure over here, and the market seems to be making its way to retest this order block over here. So unless this order block holds, if the market breaks through this order block, then we're looking for sells. But then if this order block holds, then it means that we're going to continue to the upside, take our first profit here. Now, because this is not a confirmed zone, right? This means that I'm not going to be selling from the zone. So I'm going to expect another pattern, and eventually maybe in the future, we can take profits there. But this is what I'm seeing on EURUSD, right? Let me fix everything and then let's go to the 4 hour. As you can see right here, we have this break of structure over here. Let me just write that down. And then you have a nested demand zone. So this is the first demand zone that we could be looking at. And then our discounted one is this one. So yeah, guys, these are my sentiments on EURUSD. I think price will either go to this one over here, right? And then there's an area of liquidity over here. I don't know how price is going to move from the zone, right? But then price, yeah, no, price can do whatever it does there and then eventually take out that liquidity and go to the upside. That's what I see on EURUSD. If that does not happen, we have this potential area of liquidity over here, right? Let's wait and see how the week turns out. I'll upload the updates on my Telegram group. If you still haven't subscribed to that Telegram group, the link to it will be in the description box below. So for now, let's move on to GBPUSD. All right, now we're on GBPUSD, and as you can see, supply been tested twice. We already got this supply zone over here. The market went down, went an uptrend, by the way. I'm downtrend, sorry, downtrend. But then we had this liquidity sweep over here. All right. Now, price has to break above this high over here. Let me just highlight it. It has to break above this high over here to prove that it's a change of trend, right? So basically what had happened was the market was going down and then we took liquidity away from that zone. Now we have to break above that zone, right? We have to break above this swing high because this is a swing high from that downtrend. We have to break above it to show that we are continuing or we are changing sentiment, right? One thing that's interesting for me, to be honest, is seeing how much time price is spent on this level, right? Because usually with supply and demand zones, price hits that and then leaves immediately. So even if it's not immediately, normally it takes 3 candlesticks to move away from the zone. But as you can see right here, price is taking its time on that zone, which for me is what I usually talk about when I say congested price action on a significant level. Normally a congested price action on a significant level results in a break of that level, right? So I think, and this is a very huge assumption, that price will eventually break through this, right? But then let's go to the lower time frame, right? So I just want to take a look at recent price action. We have this high over here, which is a potential area of liquidity, fine. I want to focus here. So we had a break of structure, right? But then my problem with the break of structure, like I explained on USDJPY, is the fact that after the breakout, we had this price action over here. We didn't return to an order block and take out that order block. Instead, what had happened was we started going up. We started going up. Now, some people might argue that this is a nested demand zone, and I wouldn't necessarily disagree, meaning that this might hold and price might go down. But right, with this movement, with this price action over here, and price taking its time on this level, we're able to create a confirmed demand zone. Now, is it a high probability demand zone? Probably not. Why? Because of where it's located relative to the main, like to the high time frame zone. So it's this zone versus this zone. And next week, I just want to see if this zone isn't going to get broken through. I actually believe that it's going to get broken through. So what I think will happen is price might break through this. And if it does, we have this demand zone that's fresh. You understand? And we'll use this as our first take profit, right? But then if this demand holds, I need a really serious confirmation candlestick to be able to take the sell. But so far, I'm not convinced that the sell will hold, right? Also consider the fact that the zone has already been tested. There isn't any strong imbalance coming into that zone or coming from that zone, rather. There is no strong imbalance. So that's why I'm saying I think the market will eventually break through it. Eventually, more especially because of what we saw on the monthly, right? That congested price action. So this is what I see on GBP USD. Let's move to another pair. Okay, we're in a downtrend. You can see with these consecutive lower highs and like lower lows. What happened recently was that we had the breakout, a false breakout from this area. Remember that liquidity situation I was talking about? So what happened was market took liquidity from that level and came into the zone over here. So now you have supply in control, number one. And also you have a downtrend situation. So it means that on like lower time frames, what you should look for is a sell opportunities. But how sure are we of the sells? When the market came to this area, it created this swing over here, meaning it's in an uptrend before going into this area. It had a failure swing, right? It had this failure swing over here. Hope everybody can see it. It had this failure swing over here. Now the market looks like it's violating its swing low. I think it will be much more clear if we go to lower time frames. Now we have this opposing demand zone, which is not really a good demand zone because of this, because of its basing candlesticks. So let me write that down. So for now, I can say that price will go to that zone, and I hope that it will eventually break through it, right? But let's look for confirmations on lower time frames. This failure swing looks much more clearer here. Let me do this. This failure swing looks a whole lot cleaner here, right? And also, we have this gap over here, which hasn't been filled. And the supply zone over here, that's still fresh. And that supply, don't forget, is the source of that imbalance, right? Now we're looking at the zone over here. And we're looking at the basing candlesticks that's nested with that zone that we're saying we are avoiding, right? So one of two things can happen. Either, because as you can see, we're in this consolidation phase, either these orders will accumulate, right? Print manipulation, go down. That's scenario number one. Or scenario number two, we'll just get a breakout from the zone, retest, and this. These are the two scenarios that I see on NZDCHF, right? I quickly want to look at NZDCAD before I end this. So this has a lot of liquidity. Whenever you see a consolidation, just think liquidity, a lot of liquidity resting below and above, a lot of manipulation, right? And even if you see like this swing low has already been violated, right? So there's a lot of manipulation. There's a gap here. So which is why I think price might eventually go up to take out orders. We'll see what happens then. Let's quickly move to NZDCAD. The final pair for first edition of our market breakdown will be NZDCAD, right? And with NZDCAD, this is more of an update, so don't mind me rushing through this. We had this uptrend, got violated here, right? This was the most recent signal. Actually, this one over here got violated, and then we got like this breaker situation over here, right? Anyways, as the market was breaking or forming a new trend, we had this scenario over here where the market was breaking swing lows and respecting swing highs, right? That's how we confirmed our downtrend. So now you have this situation over here where this is your supply only being tested once. All right. And then this is a low that is supposedly violated. Okay. Now we have this not so good looking like level. I think it will be much more clear if we go to lower time frames. But anyways, that's what's what. And if you look to your left, you don't have a strong base in candlesticks, or you have a weak zone because of its base in candlesticks. Weak zone. Why? Because of its base in candlesticks. Number one. Because number two, it's already been used up. So what do I mean when I say it's already been used up? On this zone, yeah? Let's say this is our zone. You already had our first, second, third, and now fourth retest. And you can see with every retest, price is trying to break below that zone. So price will eventually break that zone. And if price eventually breaks that zone, where will we get an opportunity to trade? Another opportunity will be here at our area of liquidity. This is why I think, or this is why I believe that this thing is going down in the long run, right? Now let's go to the daily for entry confirmations. So now we are here. This is weekly structures. Let me just, okay. We have this situation over here where the daily zone was taken out, but not really. Why? Because of the price action here. And because of this price action here, I now have reason to believe that this was nothing more than just a liquidity grab, and the price is eventually going to make its way up. Now, price can take profit on two zones, on three, either this zone over here, nested within the high time frame structure, or this zone over here, or we might start looking for what you call inefficiencies and efficiencies. We have this zone over here. So what I think will happen, not sure. I think price will come back to the source of that inefficiency, obviously, right? And then I think price will take liquidity from these equal highs, right? Tap into this after taking liquidity and then drop. Because from this scenario over here, this is a liquidity grab. And if you saw how I analyzed USDJPY, you'll understand why I said so. Liquidity. So this is self-stop liquidity. Right? Now, these are equal highs, which signifies liquidity. Equal. Yes. Right? We have this area of inefficiency. So yeah, anyways, guys, this is all I have for this week. Really, really tired. I'm recording this very, very late. So yeah, I just wanted to deliver my first ever market breakdown for the year. If you're stuck to this point and if you still haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Make sure that you smash the subscribe button, like this video because it helps with the YouTube algorithm, and also share this video with your friends. For now, this is all I have for you guys. There's a video that's dropping this Thursday. Keep a lookout for it. I'm going to start being consistent with content. We are back, and we are better than ever. Thank you guys for watching. For now, peace.